Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. We've already had a very busy day on the channel, so we're going to close it out with a very small game as we play Cartographers from Thunderworks Games. In this game, we've been charged by Queen Gimnax to map out a new territory that we have to claim. So we'll have different edicts for each season that we'll have to score on. Let's see if this will actually, we can lay these cards out like so. These are our 4 seasons. I'll keep those up there. We're also going to do a play along with this game. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, if you're watching this whether you're watching this as I'm playing it live or watching it later, there will be a link to the score sheet in the description down below. So you can download a copy of the score sheet and play along with me. As we go through my same cards and the same edicts that we've got. And I'll be curious to know in the comment section down below or in the chat if you're watching this live and playing along how we do this. So we've got our 4 different seasons. Spring will score on edicts A and B, so on these 2, and we'll go through all 4 of them at once. We'll get 8 time, and that'll come from these cards. I'll explain more about how that works when we get our first card. Summer takes 7 time and scores on edicts B and C, so these 2. Fall scores on C and D, these 2. And then winter takes 6 time, scoring on D and then D and A. So each of the edicts will get scored twice. That is something to be aware of. Speaking of which, let's go through and take a look at our edicts. So for Edict A, we're looking at the farms and water. And the card here is Shoreside Expanse. We earn 3 reputation stars for each cluster of farm spaces not adjacent to a water space or the edge of the map. And 3 reputation stars for each cluster of water not adjacent to a farm or the edge of the map. Card B looks like it's dealing with the layout of the board. Purplestone Miners earn 5 reputation stars for each island with a mountain space surrounded on all 4 sides by filled spaces or the edge of the map. Then Edict C looks like it's dealing with villages. Trelo Monastery earns 7 reputation stars for each cluster of village spaces that contains 4 spaces in a 4x1 or 1x4 rectangle. Actually, I wonder if that might be specific to the... There's a map pack that's got islands in it, so I think that might be specific to that, which means I'm going to pull another laid out on the map. Another edict for that space, and I think... Okay, yeah. So it looks like for a few of those, I'm just looking at some of these, and we can probably... Yeah, some of these are going to need to come out, since we won't necessarily be able to use them. Okay. We'll pull a new one of these. So our new scoring tile our new scoring edict for Edict B, Dwarven Holds. Earn 7 reputation stars for each complete row or complete column of filled spaces that contains a mountain space. And then Edict D is looking at the forest, so here we will find Deepwood. Earn 6 reputation stars for each cluster of 5 or more forest spaces not adjacent to any village spaces. So the way this game works is we'll go through the exploration deck and draw the shapes and the terrain types depending on what cards come out. There might be ambush cards, but we'll explain more about how those work when those come up. So we'll walk through the first couple of cards here nice and slow. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and close the closet door behind me, by the way. So there we go, closing closet door. So with that, I think we're all set to get into this game. So let's jump in. Hopefully you've got your score sheet downloaded and you're ready to play along. So let's pull this first card out and we'll go nice and slow with it. Oh, we've got a null rate already. Now, normally the way this would work in the solo game is you would have to pass the card, pass it in the direction indicated. So in this case, you'd be passing your sheets to the left to draw it out. But in the solo game, it might be a little bit hard to see, but there's a section in the upper right corner. So you have to start in the upper right corner of your map, and then you have to draw this shape in. So as you can see here, we've got a completely empty map, which means starting from the upper left, we have to draw it in up here. I'll go ahead and draw that in. And I'll try to draw the trying to draw that in so I know it's actually there. So as you can see, I've marked it off with a monster space. And this could cause problems because each orthogonally adjacent space that isn't filled will count as negative points when you get into the end of the round, when you get into the end of each season. So the ambush goes off to the side, and we'll try again with a more traditional terrain card. Okay, here we go. So now we've got a settlement, which will take one time. That's what... Yeah, I did decide to go live, Jester, and hopefully it won't be too long. I did decide to go live with something small because I do want to set up the Group 3 for the Fate of the Elder Gods tournament tonight. So now the way this works, for those of you who are new, is we have to take it as a village space, but we have a choice. We can either take this bigger shape or take the smaller 1x2 shape, but we get a coin with that, and those are victory points. So what I want to do here is, for each... Okay, I could definitely set myself up to get clear of the... Maybe get clear of some of this monster stuff early. You can also turn these pieces. You can also turn your pieces if you need to turn them for whatever reason. So, given that we're scoring Dwarven Holds now, I think we actually are going to take that. Actually, I could put it there, but then I would need a single down here. I don't necessarily like that idea. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smaller shape, turn it, and put it right here. But I will also get to cross off a coin on my sheet since I took the smaller piece with a coin. So hopefully everything makes sense there. We'll go through a few of these nice and slow. We may actually go through all of spring nice and slow. Next card up is a hamlet that takes one time. We can either take a square with one extra piece, or take this piece and take an extra coin with it. I think here we are going to... Let's see. Given that I want to be able to set up for scoring the Trelo Monastery, I could take this piece and turn it like so, set it up by my monster piece, and I've already got 7 points lined up when I go to score that. So I think I will do that. I'm just drawing that in. Okay. I don't get the coin for that, but we are up to 2 time. So our next card coming out is a lava flow. So I have to mark off 3 spaces, a 1x3 rectangle that I can't use. But that doesn't take any time. So I think given that I also want to make sure I can fill in, start filling in some of these rows, I think we're going to, I'm going to place this lava flow right up here. And just mark the spaces off with 3 X's that I can't use. So our next card up is a farmland that takes 1 time. I can either take a bisected pair of 3x1 rectangles, or a single and take a coin, or a 1x2 and take a coin. Now I want to keep most of these farmlands away from the edge of the map if I can, and adjacent and away from water. So actually, working on filling this in will work nicely for that. So I think I will, and I need to keep that away from. You know what? I'm actually going to put it on this side in case I see more village. That way it's a little bit easier for me to move that in there. So we're going to put this over top of a temple ruins. And yes, that's my lousy depiction of farmland. As always, if you need a minute to consider a move, go ahead and pause the video, and you can come back. Especially if you're watching this later, you can go ahead and pause the video and come back later to it. So our next move here is Kethra's Gate, taking no time. This gives us 1 space anywhere we want it. Well, I think I'm going to set myself up here. I'm going to try to get these monster spaces covered up right away. And I'm going to set myself up for villages. So I think we're going to take that 1 as a village. I should try the app on Board Game Arena. It has a great mod for this game. I'll have to look into that. So I'm going to take a 1 square and I'm going to put it actually right here. That way I'm set up to give myself more points when it comes time to score the Trelo Monastery. And then our next card coming out of that is a homestead. So I can take a Tetris piece like that, either as a village or as a farm, and that takes 2 time. Where do I want that is the question. And what do I want it as? We are scoring. If I take it as farmland, I'd want to keep it away from this. But if I'm taking it as village, I could put it here and already set myself up with 14 more points on when Trelo Monastery comes up, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Plus, covering up this mountain will give me an extra coin, so I think that's what we're going to do. I'm going to set it there. And that will give me an extra coin since I've got everything in that mountain covered up. We are also at 1, 2, 3, 5 of 8 time. Looking at our next card, we've got a pasture. We can either take this as 2 broken up squares with a coin, or as an offset 2x2 square. And actually, theoretically, that would count as 2 different clusters. Oh no, probably not as 2 different clusters. What what I could, where do I want to put that though is the question. I do want to be away from this other. If I take it as the offset square, I want to be away from this cluster if I can be. Which I think. I also want to make sure I don't touch the edge of the map with that. So I think we'll go ahead and set that up right over here. So that's where I set that cluster up. Again, I wanted to stay away from this cluster if I could. We are at 5 of 8 times, so let's see our next card. We've got an orchard, which takes another 2 times, so we're at 7 times. We can take it as one of these L shapes, as either as a forest or as a farmland. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that'll actually be the end of the season once we place this. Reach cluster of 5 or more forest spaces not adjacent to a village. So I definitely don't want to place the forest. So unless I turn the L in this direction, which I could do, I definitely don't want it I definitely don't want it near this cluster of village spaces I've got going on here. So I think we will take that as, what do I want to take that as? Because I'm scoring 3, I would be scoring another 3 points if I take it as I'd be potentially scoring another 3 points depending on how I decide to take this. Or setting myself up to score a lot of points later. So what I think we'll do here is, I think we're going to go ahead and take that as a cluster of farmland, and I'm going to put it. Do we care about farmland being next to villages? I don't think so. I could put it down here, but I still have room over here to put another village space, to put more village spaces in. So I think that's what we're going to go with. So we'll take that down here. And we'll score that and we'll take that as a farmland right there. So now we're scoring edicts A and B. We get 3 reputation points for each cluster of farm space not adjacent to a water space or the edge of the map. In this case, we've got 3, 6, 9 points worth of that. So 9 points there, plus Dwarven Holds, which gives me 7 reputation stars for each row or column for each filled row or column with a mountain space in it. Unfortunately, I've got none of those, so I don't score any points there. I get 2 coins, and I lose 1 because I had a space not filled in from my monster attack. That brings me up to 10 points. And we'll shuffle these in along with another ambush card. And now spring is done. So I'll give these a quick shuffle. As I'm dropping a card. So if you guys are playing along with this video, I'm curious to know how you guys are doing right now. We'll give this one more shuffle. And a cut. And now we're all set for summer. As mentioned, we're scoring on Edicts B and C, so Dwarven Holds and Trelo Monastery, and we've got another 7 time in summer. So our first card up for the summer is Marshlands. We can either take this as forest or water in a slightly elongated Tetris piece. That's 2 of 7 time. Now, looking at water, I don't want to be around farmlands with that for Edict A when that comes up again in the winter. In the forest, I could get 5 points just outright right here. What did I score for spring? I scored a total of 10 points. So I had 3 clusters of farmlands that weren't adjacent to the edge of the map, and I didn't have any water that was there. I didn't get anything from the Dwarven Holds. I got 2 points for coins, and I lost 1 because I had an empty monster space that I didn't fill in. Let's see. Unfortunately, I can't put anything here, so I can't fill that in just yet. But I think I will definitely take a free 6 points with a big cluster of forest spaces. Actually, do I want to try to put water in? That's an idea too. Actually, I don't want to put water here. Actually, I don't want to put water in. I was looking at it here, but I don't want it to be near the edge of the map. So I think we'll take it as a forest space, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in down here. Actually, let me bring it over to the side. So we're going to put the forest down here. So there's my new cluster of forest spaces. And yes, my art is absolutely atrocious. I'm aware of that. Next card up. We've got Seismic Terrors. So we have to cross out a 1x2 rectangle. And actually, this would be a perfect place. Actually, this would be a perfect thing to stick in right about here. That way we're done with, that way we don't have to worry about that monster space anymore. So let's go ahead and do that. And now that null raid that we got as the first card of the game has been completely covered up. And that didn't take any time off. Still at 2 time for the summer. We've got a Hillside Terrace as a 2x2 square, either as a farmland or water. Let's see. The only things I care about with farmland and water are that they're not adjacent to the edge of the map. Actually, I take that back. I care that they're not adjacent to the edge of the map, and I don't want them adjacent to each other. So, I think with that all set, we're going to put that down. We're actually going to put that down right here so I can work on the Dwarven Holds a little bit more. The only question is, what am I putting it down as? I think we're going to put it down as... Let's put it down as water. As long as they're not orthogonally adjacent to each other, rivers and farmland won't cause problems. So we are at 4 time in the summer. Next card up is a Rain of Fire. We can either take 2 singles or an L shape and get a coin out of that. And actually, I could, and that's 1 time, so that's 5 time. I actually could set myself up here to actually score some points on the Dwarven Holds, and I think I will. So we'll go ahead and take that here. And because I took the bigger piece, I do get the coin out of that. That gives me another coin. And then we are at 5 of 7 times, so let's see what our next card is coming out. Riftlands. We get a single that we can place down anywhere. And actually, we could make sure we score another group of some more points on Riftlands here. So I think what we're going to do here, actually we'll get another coin if I take a single here. So I think that's what we're going to do. The only question is, what am I putting it down as? I think I'm going to put it down as a... I'm going to put it down... Do I want to put it down as a forest, though? That was my other thought. I think the answer to that is going to be... yes. Although that could potentially, depending on what I put down here, cut into this as making it one big cluster, and I'd rather have them separate. So I think what we're going to do here... Yep, I think a forest is still fine, though. So we're still at 5 time because the Riftlands took no time. We do get another coin for that. More importantly, we're scoring another 7 points now that we've got another mountain row completely filled in. So next, or I am anyway. I don't know how you guys are doing on your maps. Next card up is a Forgotten Forest, taking 1 time. We can either take it as an offset 2x2 square or as an offset 1x2 rectangle, and we get a coin out of that. Well, we can definitely start a new forest cluster, and we don't have to care that it's around a village. We could also potentially pick up another coin if I put it down here, and I think that's what I'm going to do. As you can see, I covered up another mountain, so that gives me another coin. And then we are at 2, 4, 6. This is probably going to be our last card of the summer. Timber Grove, yep. So we can either take it as an offset as a 2x2 rectangle offset by a column, or as a shape like that, and we get a coin out of it. I was looking at putting it down here, but that's actually going to be a terrible idea. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down here. That way I'm scoring another cluster. That way I'm scoring another cluster when I come up to Deepwood. All right. There's that all filled in, and we are at the end of summer, so now we're going to pause and score. So our Edict B is Dwarven Holds. As you can see here, I've got 2 mountain columns filled in. I don't have any mountain rows filled in, so I'll score 14 points for that. Trail of Monastery scores me 7 reputation stars for each cluster of village spaces that contains 4 spaces in a 4x1 or a 1x4 rectangle. So here I'm scoring for this group, and this group. So I'm scoring 21 points off of that. That's 21 points there. Plus I get 5 coins. I get 5 points for coins. And since I've got my monster spaces all completely filled in, I don't lose any points from that. This means 19 and 21 is... I'll be scoring a total of 40 points off of Summer. Summer is now done, and I'm done with the Dwarven Hold, so I'm never scoring that again. We'll shuffle all of these back in, along with a new Ambush card. Give this a quick shuffle. And we are already at the halfway point through the game. So if you guys are playing along, how are you guys doing at this midway point of the game? Give this another quick shuffle. And a cut. And we are all set for fall. So now we're scoring on Trelo Monastery and Deepwood, but we have 7 time in the fall. So I want to be careful about keeping my Trelo Monastery. I want to be careful about keeping my villages away from my forests. I also score on clusters of 5 or more forest spaces. So our first card up in the fall is going to be a Great River. I can take it either as a 1x3 rectangle and get a coin out of it, or an offset cube, or an offset 2x2 square with an extra piece. So remembering that I don't want water adjacent to farmland, I also don't want it near the edge. I also don't want it adjacent to the map, or to the edge of the map. I think what I can do here is, actually, I think I can take it as, I think what I can do with it is turn it slightly. So I'm going to turn it like so, and I'm going to put it down right here. So there's that group of water that I've put down. And that's 1 time of 7 in the fall. Next card up is an Outpost Ruin. So what that means is the next card has to go over a ruin space if you can. I've got 2 ruins left uncovered. So our next card is a Lava Flow. So it looks like we have to take a 1x3 rectangle over the top of a ruins space, which I can do very easily. I can actually slide that in. I've got a couple of runes I can put that over, so I'll put that... I'll go ahead and put that in right here. That way I can continue working on getting this coin. There we are with the lava flows going in. We're still at 1 time on the season. Next card up is a Coastal Encampment. So this is an L shape, either as a village or as water. Let's see, what do I want to do here? We are scoring on the Trelo Monastery again. Can I potentially set myself up for... I've got to be careful where I put this down, because if I put it down in the wrong place, I'm going to screw myself on Deepwood, and I'm already poised to score at least 12 points off of that. So I think we're going to put that down. I think we're going to take it as a village, and I'm going to put it down. I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to put it down right here. Let's bring it over so you guys can see where I'm putting it down. I'm going to put it down as a village right here. Once again, my terrible drawing of a village going in there. We're at 5 of 7 time for the fall, so this could be our last card. Next card up is an orchard, and it will be our last card for fall. So I can take another L shape, either as a forest or as farmland. And I think we're going to do what with this? Looking at the map here, the only thing I care about is that I don't want the forest next to my villages. So I definitely don't want to put forest down here. I also don't want to make farmland, because that suddenly turns into one big cluster and costs me points. So what I think I'm going to do with it is, I think the only safe play for me here is to take it as... Well, Well, I'm scoring on Deepwood again in the winter, so I need to be careful of that. But I also need to keep this away from my clusters of villages. So I think the safe place for me here is... I think the safe play for me here is to take it as a... Actually, if I take it as a forest and put it down here, that gives me the coin, but it also doesn't cause me problems on the Trelo Monastery because it only specifies orthogonal adjacency. Because the game only has orthogonal adjacency, so we'll do that. Plus, I know I'm scoring on Shoreside Expanse again in the... I'm going to be scoring on that again in the winter, so I don't want to have problems with that. And I'm not scoring anything on this cluster of village spaces anyway, so it's not going to matter if I put a forest down there. Okay. So that is... Actually, no. I think I miscounted there. Apparently, I can't do math tonight. Let's see. Nope, we're at 5 time. So we were at 3 time. I miscounted. For some reason, I was counting the 2 twice. Anywho, next card up is a Timber Grove. We saw this earlier. We can either take it as a 2x2 square with 1 missing and a coin, or as a 2x2 square bumped apart by a row or by a column. Let's see. So with a row in between, how do I want to set this up? Well, again, I'm looking at a situation where I'm not scoring on this village anyway. But I also don't want to keep... I don't want to have the forest there if I can avoid it, because I may get something that lets me place a house on this cell, so I don't want to screw myself out of that. What I think I'll do here, though, is I'll leave myself with the possibility of a single space coming up. And yeah, I'll leave myself the possibility of a single space coming up. And I'll take it as an offset 2x2 square, turning it, and I'll put it down here. I am covering up my last Outpost Ruins space, which actually could be helpful. Because if you get a card that comes up and you can't place it, and you can't fulfill its conditions, then you get to place a single square anywhere. So I could potentially use that to place a forest down. So I could potentially use that to get the forest down here. So we are at 2, 4, 6 time, which means this should be the last card of the fall. So we have a Woodland Crossroads for 2 time. We can take it as a... We have it as a cross piece using either forest or village. Is there anywhere I can even put this down right now? I think the answer to that is going to be no. So here, let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If you get something you can't place, you draw a... So if a player can't legally draw... it anywhere, you instead draw a 1x1 square anywhere on the map and fill it with any terrain type. Okay, that's what I thought. So looking at this piece, there's actually nowhere on my map that I can place it right now. So it's that. So it's this cross piece I'm trying to place, but looking at my map, there's legally nowhere I can place it. So I get to place a single square of any terrain, and I think, funnily enough, I could either take it as a forest here and score 5 points, or take a village here and score 7. So I think actually, since we're scoring Deepwood again going into the winter, I'm going to take the forest terrain, and I'm going to take the forest square, and I'm going to put it down here. I think that's probably the better play here. So now that we're actually at 7 times, since Phoenix Knight apparently can now count, now we're going to score for the fall. So we're looking at the Trelo Monastery. On my map, I once again score 7, 14, 21 points from that. And now we score 6 points for every forest cluster of 5 or more. So I score 6, 12, 18 points from that. I have 5 coins once again. And again, my monster spaces are all completely filled in, so I don't lose any points from that. So this is going to be a good round for me. 23. So I scored a total of 46 points from the fall. So now that's done, and now we're into winter, where now we only have 6 time to deal with. We're scoring on these 2 edicts. We're scoring on D and A. So we're looking at Deepwood and Shoreside Expanse. 6 time is likely to go very quickly. And I just realized that my stream quality tonight is actually pretty horrendous. I'm wondering if that's because I've got a project going on my main PC, because I just got my external hard drive back, and Best Buy was able to get it working earlier tonight, but but Geek Squad was telling me this thing is very finicky. You should get it backed up to a solid state drive. So that's the project I'm working on in the living room, on my main PC right now, which is part of what made the decision for me to go live tonight. So that's what we're doing here tonight. We'll give that a cut. And now we're on 6 times, so we're actually very near the end of the game at this point. So our first card in the winter is a Great River, which we can take as either a 1x3 square and a coin, or take it as a piece like that. And here, I do want to be very careful that I'm not near the edge of the map. Fortunately, I've got a place where I can put a 1x3 river and not be near the edge of the map. So I'm actually going to put that down. I'm going to put that down here. I'm also not causing problems. I'm also not going to be causing problems that way with Shoreside Expanse. It is going to cut into my existing cluster of river down here, but I figure it's better to do that than put it up here and cause point problems there. And that's only 1 of 6 time. Next card up is a Hinterland Stream. This is going to have to go near the edge of the map, which I'm not happy about. So it's going to be another cluster where I'm not going to be able to score, but it is 2 time. So I guess now the question is, how do I do the least amount of damage? I think the way I do the least amount of damage is I take it as... Actually, I could do enough damage. Actually, I could make sure I only lose the points from this cluster. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take it as water and put it down here. So I'm going to gamble a little bit that nothing comes up. I'm gambling a little bit that nothing's going to come up and force me to place anything in this cluster, or in this group of spaces. So we've got 3 time left. Our next row Our next card is a Direwolf Prowl. Yikes. So after drawing the Direwolf, we have to destroy an empty scouted space or an empty ruined space. Okay, and we start from the lower left. Let's see, turning it. So turning it, I can place it. I can place it there, so I'm going to place it right here. So we destroy an empty scouted space or empty ruined space. Let's see, an empty scouted space, I could destroy. Looks like I could destroy that space. Actually, I could destroy this space right here. So yeah, that's what we'll do. Actually, let me double check that real quick. Is there something specific on... that seems like that might be a hero's. Let's see if there's a clarification on some of these monsters. Not there, of course. One of the map packs, potentially. Yep, right here. Scouted spaces have faded marks that indicate one of the four primary... Oh, it looks like that's on... Let's see if they can't... So we don't have any scouted spaces, it doesn't look like. Nope, not in this map. So we don't get to destroy anything. So we don't have to worry about that part of it. But the Direwolf Prowl is out. So our next card up, still at 3 time, is a Forgotten Forest. Taking it either as an offset square or an offset 1x2 rectangle with a coin. In order to limit the... Actually, you know what I could do here? I can actually fill in 2 of the spaces by taking the 1x2 rectangle and putting it down here. So that's what we'll do. And I get another coin from that. So we're at 4 of 6 time. Next card up is 1 time, taking farmland. Since we can't place this, we will have to place this shape, but we get a coin from that. So we're at 5 time. Now, where do I want to put this farmland down? I think we'll put it down. So we're going to cause problems in the middle of the board, it looks like, unless... Actually, better idea, I'll just put the farmland down here. I'll put it here. This way I get the coin, but I also limit the damage once again. I do get another coin, and this should be the last card of the game since we are at 5 of 6 time. So let's see what we've got here. Nope, we've got a lava flow, which is destroying a 1x3 rectangle. I can destroy... Actually, if I destroy this rectangle, if I destroy this right here, that will make sure I can't place anything there. That way those points are safe. Let's do that. All right, so that's been destroyed. And now our next card is a 1x1 space, Kethra's Gate. So we can place that as any type of terrain that we want. And actually, what will segue nicely is placing a space right there. That way I can fill in the wolf space. And I'll fill that in as another forest. So now you can see that that has been filled in. This game does not seem to want to end. So our next card up, Lagoon. Now we're ending the game. And we've got an offset 1x2 or a Tetris piece like that we can place. And we're going to cause we're going to cause a lot of problems here with this. So, yikes. So I think to limit the damage here, let's take the coin. Let's take the coin piece and I'm going to put that down here. Yes, that's going to cost me these points. Actually, you know what? A space that won't cost me points is if I take the offset 1/2 and I put it down here. That way I don't cut into this water. So let's do that instead. Okay, so that's, let me put a line in there. So now we're at the end of the game, so now we score. Deepwood, 6 points per cluster of 5 or more forests. So I'm scoring 6, 12, 18 points from that. And then Shoreside Expanse, 3 points per water and farm that's adjacent to neither the edge of the map nor one of the other. So that will be 3, 6, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and I think that's it for that one. Yep, 15. For coins, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I didn't lose anything from monsters since I got both of my forests, both of my monster spaces all filled in. So 26 and 15 is 41, which means my base total, before we get into solo-specific scoring, is 10, 50, 96, 137. But we're not quite done with scoring yet, because we also have to account for, because we also have to total up the number of the points at the bottom right of each card. So it might have been a little bit hard to see, but there is a number there. So 27 from that one. 28 from Dwarven Holds. 14 from Trelo Monastery. And 18 from Deepwood, which is going to be a grand total of 32 and 55. 32 and 55 is 77. So we subtract that from our 137, and that gives me a final score of 60. Based on the title scoring hierarchy, that gives me the title of Legendary Cartographer. And if you need to pause the if you need to pause the video here to check your title, feel free to do that. I'll hover over here for a little bit so you can. But since I scored 60, 30 plus is Legendary Cartographer. And there's the map as my game finished with it. And that will do it for this playthrough of Cartographers. And actually a really fun game when I have the time to set it up like this. So very cool. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. Tomorrow, we got a lot coming up on the channel. Tomorrow for Thanksgiving, hopefully you guys will enjoy a happy Thanksgiving with your families. But tomorrow we'll actually have plenty of action on the channel. So tomorrow morning, we're going to have the final play-in group for the Fate of the Elder Gods tournament in Christmas in Arkham, as Yig, Cthulhu, and Yog-Sothoth are now playing for their opportunity to join Shub-Niggurath and Ithaca in the winners group. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll do sports of some kind. I haven't decided what that'll be yet. And then Saturday, Mystical Munchies will finish out of the unofficial Disney Parks cookbook with the drink, Jungle Juleps. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care, everyone.